We're now tuned into another episode of Truth Disorder. Today we have a question to ask you though. Did JFK really get shot by Lee Harvey Oswald, or was it the driver? Find out here soon. My name's Ernest.
I'm Gary.
I'm Charles.
Our special guest. Welcome, Charles.
Great to be here. Super excited.
Yeah, or was the guy from the gutter? Oh, what is it? The sewage area? That's one of the theories. He got shot from below, street level, on the ground, like subterranean, and got shot from this way up.
So he got shot from like in a manhole.
Yeah, basically by it.
Or like a drainage ditch.
Yeah, from the clown.
From Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Crazy.
That's
gnarly.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Truth Disorder, guys. We're going to be talking about some craziness today. We have a brilliant friend of ours named Charles Hyman. Correctly pronounced?
Very, very close.
Thank you.
Super nice to be here. I might dispute the brilliant part, and I think we'll see as that goes on, but I really appreciate being here, and you've been talking about this for a while, so it's super interesting to be on.
Glad to finally make it happen.
Yeah.
So, what do you do, Charles?
I am the Director of Operations for More Than Real Estate Group. I take care of all their back-end operations, such as the actual management of transactions, back-end database management, and then various other admin tasks that end up falling in my lap as time goes on.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just jump right in.
That's wild.
What is the craziest story that you've heard as a realtor? What is the craziest story you've actually experienced as a realtor?
A lot of the stuff that I can think of that's truly crazy is the things that clients will do 3 days before closing. They'll tell you, oh, we don't have the money anymore for the down payment. What are we going to do? All that stuff is garden level, though. I mean, really, I can't think of anything that good.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird how sometimes you'll have clients where you'll shop in the same neighborhood as every other client that you have. Same houses, same build, same year. But you'll go in and you'll see things like the 6-inch bathtub. You'll see things like the master bedroom without a toilet or shower or tub. That's probably as weird as it honestly gets. San Antonio is kind of a boring market.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, the real estate clicks in the San Antonio area are another level.
True that. And it's funny because I feel like the real estate clicks here, they center around lenders.
Yeah.
And lenders with big personalities. It's not really about the brokerage as much unless you're Keller Williams. Watch out, everybody at Keller Williams. You know it, I know it. It really centers around the lenders and the title people. They create the groups, and then the realtors kind of run with it. They're the energy in the team.
Yeah. Realtors got to get that co-marketing share.
Yeah.
They've got to get it.
100%.
So that's crazy. So as an operations manager, what exactly is like your day-to-day?
First thing I do is I get up, I'm looking at the transactions. Are we on track with everything that's going on? After that, I usually will try and take a break. That soaks up the first part of the day. And then after 12 o'clock, that's when the fun happens. I'm speaking to the agents about the transactions, doing new transactions, updating clients on paperwork. A lot of it is just managing survey stuff. That's probably the biggest and most onerous task. Other than that, it's just basic level manipulation and sending of the TREC documents.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Crazy. That's wild. Like, so going from Washington real estate to Texas real estate, because I'm dual licensed in Washington and Texas. One of the biggest kind of flips that I saw was the surveys, right? Like Texas, everything's a survey. Is it the original survey? Can they use it? Will the lender use it? And so forth. Up there, it was all Exhibit A, and it was just legal description. Like, that's all we needed. Everything else was that title. You had your deeds. You had everything else. But no lot surveys. We didn't do any really like plat surveys or anything like that. So that was new to me when I came down here, and I was like, whoa, like, what do you mean survey?
I can't even imagine that, especially with the T47 affidavit priorly. Now they do the declaration, and since then I haven't seen a single affidavit. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's just such a big part of the contract. It's required within a specific amount of days. I have never worked a contract, with the exception of a single one, where there was an existing or non-applicable survey where that timeline was respected and anyone cared.
Yeah.
It's super funny. I would imagine that 80+% of the contracts out there could be terminated right now at fault of the seller for failure to deliver that. Mm-hmm. And most people probably don't even realize that.
Yeah.
Silly.
It's so wild, though. Like, there's so many agents here and so many great agents at that. But the flip end of that is there's a lot of bad agents that don't really understand like the legal ramifications of the contracts. They don't understand timelines. They don't really get into like the nitty gritty of like, oh shoot, I got 3 business days to get, EOM here, right? And so forth. So it's so wild to see that. Up in Washington, it was so diverse. Everybody was like, hey dude, they're texting me at like 2:00 in the afternoon. You got till 4 p.m. to get that earnest money there. I'm like, all right. Like, it's like literally the listing agent calling me and telling me this. And I'm just like, oh, shit.
That's funny. And like you said, it's very different down here. I think a lot of people don't really realize what they're doing with a lot of the contracts. I was lucky to work with Missy Stagers, actually. M Stagers Realty Partners. She knew those contracts so well, and you could not work for her unless you also did.
Yeah.
And she really stressed how, I mean, everything you write, it could end up on a courtroom wall. And when you write something here, you have to make sure that you know exactly what your clients are signing. And you know that if you see that in court, the prosecuting attorney is asking you questions, you better feel really good about what you wrote when you wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah. Up there in Washington, we did, we negotiated the inspection contingency, right? Like that was part of the negotiation. You didn't buy it or pay for it like we do down here in Texas.
It was just a timeline that was decided upon by the parties?
Yeah. The seller could agree or not agree to give you an inspection contingency. It's completely up to them. But it's also completely up to the buyer whether or not they want to proceed forward with the transaction. So, and you also negotiated the amount of days, right? So, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars. We're going to do X amount of earnest money, but we want a 7-day inspection contingency. Here, it's like we want an option period, and most agents are like, oh, it's $10 a day. So if you want, 7 days, I need $70, and I'm just like, come on, like for real.
A lot of times when I'm writing contracts, I always think about those conventions that exist inside of it and inside the head of all us agents as a large conglomerate. How did we get to $10 a day? How did we get to, 14 to 21 days for the financing period? Surveys, that's 14 every time, unless you guys already know the survey is not going to work. I just always think it's so funny. There's like a hive mind effect of the days and the numbers that just go into the contract, and everybody's on autopilot till they see 28 days for a financing contingency. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And it's all like default in some cases. Like even up in Washington, it was defaulted, right? Like default was 28 days. And even at that, the financing contingency supersedes any kind of like time statute or limitation that would be put on the actual contract. Because if they can't get financing, ultimately at the end of the day, the financing contingency helps the buyer. Right?
Exactly. And the seller too, because it's kind of an awkward situation when the buyer can't finance. Now, if they were lying to you all the way down the creek about how it was going to be and it's going to be perfect, but I mean, if you find out in 18 days that all of a sudden, hey, there's a situation we weren't aware of, the lender didn't do a good job on the first part of the approval, you walk away, get it over with, get the EM released, and just move on with the sale.
Right. So a lot of your day has to do with transactions.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything cool on the front of the transaction? As far as like automation, like what helps you in your day to day?
All right, hold on. Nerd intermission. Reaction video time.
What's Gary pulling up here? Slavic mythology.
From the world of John Wick, guys. Ana de Armas stars as ballerina.
She can be vengeful, but to the innocent, she can be a protector. It's up to you to choose.
I'm gonna have a drinking game with this. Every 5 headshots, it's a shot.
I'm looking for the tribe with this mark.
Needing to know is what colors vanish from the Garden of Eden. Are you prepared to be cast out again, Eve?
Yes. I'd like to.
What else is she in?
Everything I want to watch.
Everything Gary watches. I saw Daryl from Walking Dead in there.
I noticed that.
That's where I know him from.
I saw him like, when's he actually going to come in?
Yeah.
He's obviously the big bad.
There he is.
Seeing some beautiful scenery, not really seeing
What are you looking for here, Gary?
just some quality fight scenes. Not just blowing up, If I wanted that, I'd go watch a
Vengeance.
Marvel movie.
You know the movie that I really want to see coming out in July 25th? Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh yeah.
Perhaps I could.
I know, and I say that in every nostalgia like person from the 80s and 90s is like, no, why can they're gonna kill it? Like the second one's always terrible and blah blah blah. I kind of want to see it, see what happens.
100% want to see it.
Yeah.
I trust Adam to say, hey, make a good movie.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna do it. I think the legacy is too big. I don't think he can fumble it.
Yeah,
we'll see though.
It would be hard for him to actually fumble it.
Yeah, I'm not really hyped about this.
No?
It was all right.
Yeah, let's do some Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore too. Go home, ball. Just go home. Sometimes I feel like that's every day in real estate. it's like just go home.
Jacko. Tiger. SpongeBob? What is that? What's with the beaver teeth? I haven't sworn a crab in years. I'm a little intimidated. All these guys hit it big. I don't know where to start. Come on, brother. Rip it and rip it. I guess I need
Naturally,
to
John
update
Daly's
my
in this.
Happy Place to something a little more age appropriate.
His daughters are in it too.
Mr. Gilmore?
We're not done with golf.
That's the same caddy too, isn't it? The same.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I don't even care if it sucks. I'm still gonna say it's good.
I think the storyline is what's gonna make or break the movie. Like what's making him come back out of retirement.
Yeah, what are the stakes? What's the point?
Like-
well, especially so many years later to actually do the movie,
Yeah.
they have to make it good.
Well, originally the stakes were that he was trying to save his grandmother's home. Now it looks like they're moving out of the grandmother's home for something else. So it'll be interesting to see. One thing that he always does really well is he always brings back the same cast if he can. Mm-hmm. Like that's where most like part twos die.
And the right celebrities.
Right.
Yeah.
So look like the same wife, or girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call her. McGavin's the same. That's gonna be so.
We'll see.
I kind of had a hunch that it was coming though, because we've seen a lot of memes going around with McGavin and Happy Gilmore. So finally, it's here, July 25th. Be sure to see it. Netflix. Get your Netflix account. Click the link down below. Just kidding.
We're literally talking about it the
Yeah.
day after. So.
The day after it dropped. So day-to-day operations, you manage transactions. Are you from San Antonio?
No, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Lived in San Antonio for the vast majority of my life at this point, but
Yeah.
I've been all over the place. My dad was in tech, so.
Okay, nice. Were you in tech ever at once?
No, I was actually going to do business marketing because I had no clue what I actually wanted to do. Sorry to everybody who's doing business marketing out there. Stop now while you can. And I kind of fell backwards into real estate. I think a lot of people end up doing that, and it's been such a natural fit ever since.
It's like the military of sales.
Yes, it really feels like that sometimes.
You have to
Insurance,
sink or
too.
swim the first year, and after the first year, it's just a grind.
Yeah, 100%.
Every day is a grind. That's what I found out. Like with San Antonio, is it's so cliquish, and it's also so big. Everybody and their mother's a real estate agent, so you're literally out there like grinding to try and get these deals and these transactions.
Agreed. And I think a lot of people don't realize two things. One, real estate is like running up a down escalator.
Yeah.
Like it really is. The moment you stop, you lose that momentum. You have to figure out how to maintain the momentum while also not going completely insane. That's the secret. That's the trick.
Yeah.
But the second thing is, I think that a lot of people don't realize it's not just about being consistent with the client. It's also about having that innate skill of knowing, okay, the signals are right, the wind is just right. This is the day they're actually going to make the decision on the move. And if I'm not the person talking to them on that day, well, they're going to call their cousin, mother, father, and uncle, who also has a real estate license.
Yeah. So that's funny that you bring that up, because that's naturally like the status quo that realtors get, is they're the relationship breakers. you know, I see all too far often in like lab coats and like all these other big real estate groups. How would you approach your cousin who bought a home with another realtor? It's like dude, do your job better. Like, stay top of mind more. Like,
Agreed.
call them more frequently.
Oh, that's what I'd say burn their house down.
You gotta get revenge somehow.
Burn the bridges.
And then call my insurance group.
Call my,
Do it before it closes. That way the transaction can still exist.
yeah.
Well, and that's one thing Tori does really well. Actually, she just posts constantly. She's always out there, and she actually has text all the time that she'll send out, show the team, where somebody will message her and say, "I've been watching you for years. They've never spoken before, but I knew we had to work together because I just see you all the time."
Yeah.
That's the game. They don't see you all the time, you don't exist. Tom Ferry calls it being the secret agent. Don't be the secret agent. There's no point.
Yeah. Don't be in the closet.
Yep.
And so many people I watch, like so many agents, I know they're an agent. I'm like, dude, just say you're an agent. Come on. Like, say nobody's going to like dunk you upside the head or something.
Yes.
I mean, they might, other realtors might come after you, but
Well, and I think a lot of people, they have that, I don't want to impose.
Yeah.
They feel like there's a little bit of a shame aspect to it. And you just got to get rid of that as soon as possible and say, I'm going to be completely shameless until I'm 100% proud of what I'm doing.
yeah.
That's just how it is. That's what you have to do.
So I want to shift gears a little bit because you mentioned something that sparked my interest a little bit when we were just talking a minute ago. Rock climbing.
Yeah.
So are you a rock climber? What's the story with that?
Yeah, so my tag on Instagram is actually rock climbing realtor. I climbed a lot more when I first got into the business, but ever since I was at UTSA, they have the most magnificent boulder and top wall in the city of San Antonio. No question about it. It's the best facility. It's just an awesome sport. It's fun. It trains a lot of muscles that I think other sports don't get to, especially the core and like the inner thigh.
Yeah.
And it's like a logical problem solving question that involves your body.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you concerned about the growth of your inner thigh?
Well, when you're up there, if you're doing like a push or a pull or a heel hook, you've got to make sure that thigh is good to go.
But what
ladies
practical? Okay, ladies love
ladies
it.
love it.
Like,
Charles,
Ladies love the
If
Charles,
there's any
I've never
ladies
seen
out
any
there
ones.
that really have an affinity for the inner thigh on a man, come on, jump in the comments. Just let us know. I did not know that inner thigh was a.
You'd be
thing.
shocked. Girls tell me all the time, Charles, I've never seen an inner thigh quite like yours. Now, of course, I'm like
You
making
are
them look
fucking
at
making that up.
it. No, I'm making them look at it. So they're like, oh,
It's like
Charles,
take a
I've
peek at
never-
his inner thigh. Like,
Yeah,
how do you
Charles,
set that up?
I've
Like
never-
you're on the first date on the edge of the bed. Like, hey, can you grab me a water? And then you get ready, and then you
Yeah,
just sit
I
on the
put
edge
the
of the
mood
bed.
lighting on that's like pointing directly at the thigh. You gotta
like,
it's all
a
set and
spotlight
set.
on
He
the
gets
inner
his
thigh.
phone light and he's like,
So instead of like taking that, pic, you're saying taking an inner thigh pic.
Yes.
It's like you wish you could.
Exactly. It's tantalizing too when you take that inner thigh pic.
Imagine starting a trend of just like nobody sending D pics anymore and everybody sending inner thigh pics.
I think everyone could appreciate it.
Right. Oh, I think we might actually be onto something.
That's what I'm telling you.
There you go.
I'm gonna take off my pants
Innerthighs.com.
before I'm taking my pants off when I get on the way home and before I
You're
drive.
gonna
'Cause,
you're gonna inspect.
yeah,
that
I'm
inner
gonna
thigh.
text my wife because we're trying to have a boy. I'm gonna be like, how does this make you feel?
Baby, what do you think?
Just
She's
give
gonna
you-
say you gotta get on the rock wall.
Just to give you sun
So
vibes.
So what are some
She
good
gets the
inner
rock-
thigh workouts then?
Rock climbing.
Only
Like, that's really
only
it.
Just
rock
rock
climbing.
It's hard to
Literally
hit that
nothing
muscle
else.
otherwise. It really is. Like otherwise you're doing like a weird barrel squat up against the wall, and even then you have to it's like your core. You have to pinch it and then hold it when you go down. Otherwise you don't even work the thing at all. That's the only place to even get the activation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you like the inner thigh or are you a butt girl? Like
that's the question,
That's the
eh?
question. Would you like your man to have a butt or you want him to have an inner
This is
thigh?
an intriguing attention to detail. So, like, are you a breast or a rear end guy?
It's all about the butt, gentlemen. It
All
is.
about the butt?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's hard to fake a good ass. You can definitely fake a good. You can definitely fake good boobs.
I would have said like personality.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
fake.
that's so sweet.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You can tell I'm married, right?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
She
can tell I'm
watches the
not.
show.
I will validate that like a girl that can make you laugh and that reads a book on her downtime is probably, maybe it's just me talking in my 30s, but that's probably one of like the gems when it comes to finding
Those exist.
mine.
You gotta find
I'm 27, by the way. So I'm different age.
Us old farts
Yeah,
already
bro.
snagged them all up.
I had to sift through about 380 first before I found that one, but
You mean by sift? You had to like
Sift, sniffed. What's
sniff,
the difference?
Sniff, sift. Pull the creepy Joe out.
the Navy was a crazy time. Yeah. Okay. So besides personality, what's your second favorite?
Smile.
Smile.
Yeah. I want to see a good smile.
These are really safe answers.
They're
I'm not liking
very
any of them.
Safe answers.
These are boring as hell.
I mean, in my high school days, I would have probably said boobs and ass. Like boobs number 1, butt number 2.
Okay.
We'll go back to PG-13.
Yeah.
But you grow up and get older, and you realize there's more to it, right?
Let's play a game. We're gonna move to our right. So you're gonna guess what I'm into, and then I'm gonna guess what he's gonna be into when he's an old fart, and then you're gonna guess what he's into if he wasn't a liar.
Perfect.
If I
love that.
wasn't a liar, I'm not lying. I'm keeping a straight face on that one.
Shut up.
I like a girl with no makeup.
Okay.
Like I want all natural.
Yeah, I love that.
I want her to have a good personality, a great bod. I mean, that goes along with it. But ultimately, I want a girl that wants to love me. You know,
Yeah.
that's not safe answers either.
No, that was really
Like
sweet.
I want a girl that when I'm like smack that ass, I'm like, come on, girl, we got 20 minutes.
Yeah. Love me.
Love me, hug me, kiss me, hold me.
Yeah. Are you small spoon?
Huh?
Are you small spoon?
Oh
type?
no.
I like being small spoon, and my wife is half my size, so it actually looks like a monkey is on a tree, like when she's
But
small.
Yeah,
but
the,
to
the
your,
physics of it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but she's big spooning me, like she's
Yeah.
like, she tries the.
but to your game, let's ramble this off. I'm gonna guess, Gary, you are a abdominal type guy. You want to see a girl with not a washboard but a flat stomach,
Yeah, not big on abs.
some hips.
Oh yeah, gotta have hips.
Got to have hips.
Babe birthing.
Big birth.
Big baby birthing.
Big birth.
Big baby birthing.
And the last one, I'm gonna say, you want to see them have a good sized chest,
So
some boobs.
we're becoming good friends.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think I answered this question like 2 days ago.
I've seen pictures of your wife. So
She's proportionate.
she's proportionate.
Yeah.
Who am I guessing for?
What?
Are you guessing
I'm
for me?
guessing for you.
Go for
okay,
it.
so in your 30s, I think you're going to be you're going to be a foot guy.
No.
One.
Hands before feet.
No, you're going to be you don't know it yet. But you're going to be like that.
Oh, so not just the feet, the smell of the feet.
I mean, it's all
Okay.
encompassing. It's you don't see a titty and you're like, I hope that smells bad.
Sometimes you do.
It's about the experience.
Sometimes you see one and you're like, man, I hope that thing stinks.
You want that? You want that under boob sweat?
Yeah, dude.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I had
come on.
my ex-wife actually, and I'm calling you out because you were the devil, but she I would have let me laying like this. You deserve this. I hope you see this someday. I'd just be laying there. I don't know what kind of amount of trauma you had to deal with in order for you to be into this kind of weird shit, but I'm just sitting there enjoying some television. She'd just cuddle up under this big old man wing here, and she would just snuggle and then put her. I caught it red-handed, red-nosed one time. Just put it right there, right on my armpit. She goes, I was like, what the fuck was that? I don't even shave my armpits. What are you doing? She's like, and she just starts I caught her and she just fully committed. She just started playing with my armpit hair. And I'm ticklish, but I was just like, I guess this is love. I'm, what am I don't know. So, yeah, you're awful.
Was she the same one that was? She was probably the same one that was in the Blumpkins. No.
Nope. Those are Navy times.
Do you know what a Blumpkin is?
Of course.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah,
making sure.
absolutely.
Just making sure because you're right at the age where Gary and I mean, we're old guys. We're old farts. I mean, I'm pushing upwards of 30, over 35. So
See, Blumpkin is I hate when we bring it up because it is just so brash and ugly. It's just I would never want to do that to anybody.
yeah,
Yeah, not even. my
I don't
wife.
blame you.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never had one, but
yeah, no. But are you a Blumpkin guy?
It's one of those things where it's one of those things where
no.
it feels wrong to ask almost.
Right.
It does.
How do you set up a Blumpkin?
Oh,
If you've never
jeez.
discussed it before, how would you set one up?
Oh,
Hey, baby, I'm going to sit down. Come on over.
you know what I mean?
just as you sit down, just lay it on the toilet
Do you
lid.
pull out the Will Smith?
just-
you know what I mean?
No,
You know what I mean? Just try to dominate the situation. Do you start with Ford? You talk about family, occupation, relationships, and dreams.
Baby, have you ever dreamed of giving a Blumpkin?
Right.
You got to ask leading questions.
I
too.
think the person that created that term in that sexual play,
Ugh.
whatever you want to call it,
This hurts.
was a conspiracy theorist.
Ooh.
Why?
No.
He created it as a conspiracy. Who's ever had a Blumpkin? If you've had a Blumpkin, I want you to comment down in the comment section right now.
And as you kids would say, no capping.
No capping. Slay.
Straight up.
What's the other one?
Tell us how it happened too. I want to
Yeah,
hear
how
the
did you
lead
lead
up.
into that?
I want to read the lead up.
100% want to know how you pitch that, because you know what? You should be in real estate.
Yeah.
If you could sell that,
You can
could
sell a Blumpkin.
anything.
You can sell anything. You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
That's our new slogan. If you could sell a Blumpkin, you can sell anything.
Dead ass. Dude.
Only
That
on
is
Truth
crazy.
Disorder.
Only on Truth Disorder. Oh my goodness.
Will your wildest real estate experiences come true?
Yeah. So I found out about a Blumpkin because there was when we're on deployment, somebody pulled up a list of all of the weird things and what they're called, and just the level of creativity that these sick people on the internet have to think of the things that they're doing. I'm surprised the world hasn't ended already.
You see, my saying, and what I like to tell people, even with like movies and stuff, is somebody either A, has a wild imagination, or B, they've experienced and had this same life experience. Because some of these movies that come out, I'm like, this crap's too real. Like, not Quarantine, but what's the other one about COVID? It came out after COVID. They were gonna put like ID trackers in us.
Oh, that's a book in the Bible called Revelations.
The Revelations. Maybe I was reading the Bible. But anyway, like, I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just think of these things out of thin air.
Well, speaking of the CIA,
unless you're on shrooms.
going back to Operation Mockingbird,
Yes.
is that right?
Mock.
And they use a form.
almost did it.
Sorry, no, yeah, I just threw up in my mouth.
Mock.
MK
Bird.
Ultra. A part of it is predictive programming,
Yeah.
and it's well known at this point, thanks to socials, that they put things in movies and in the news and mainstream in order to desensitize us and make us start to accept what they're going to do to us anyways. You heard that?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the biggest things now, especially because we see the powers that be starting to freak out over the fact that the effectiveness of the mainstream media, the effectiveness of the movie industry is starting to drop off. That's why they're so upset about it. It's why there's so many different grant programs that were approved between 2020 and 2024, as well as from Obama's second term, 2012 to 2016. They did a lot of granting for it because they were trying to gird the loins of these various industries because they're defense industries when you
Right.
think about it. It was Goebbels who figured that out the most. Remember, he was the Reich Minister of Propaganda for Hitler. He realized you can disseminate a message so much more effectively and create the idea that it came from their own wishes and dreams in the populace when you show something on a TV screen.
Right.
Humans can't remember we were cavemen not too long ago, depending on what you think about that. There was a time where if you saw something, it was actually happening to you. Now we see things all the time, and it's very hard to tell, and our brains aren't really separating that yet. So if you see something on the screen, well, it must be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like
Especially if you were raised by screens.
Oh, for sure.
And it's worse now more than ever.
Yes, it is.
I saw a video the other day on TikTok, and the guy was like, "You know what's funny? We are stuck in time." He was like, "The 50s, they had their own trends. The 60s had their own trends, and you look at how people, dressed and did this and that." He's like, "After 1990, nothing's really progressed." Like, if you think about it, like our clothing, our style, the only thing that changed was the generational, like, ideas and thoughts. Like, that's the only thing that's changed.
What's crazy is shit got so baggy as far as clothes. It's like we went from like baggy, naked. Like, I think the turning point in our society was when, goodness gracious, the Jackson sister,
Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson's
yeah.
At
titty
the Super
popped
Bowl.
out at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Because we
It was
had
in 90s
it
or
was
early
like
2000s.
early
Early
2000s. Like we
It
had,
was 2002, if I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had
It was with JT.
we had Jenko jeans,
Yeah. Converse shoes.
titty popped out. Now everybody's naked.
Yeah. I mean, sorry about this, babe, but, what boggles my mind is the amount of people that run around with, like, women that run around with their ass hanging out and their vajayjay poking through their shorts or pant through their yoga pants. I'm like, dude, go put some fucking clothes on.
Yeah, it's not very empowering.
No, it's not very.
Like, I mean, you're free to do that. Go ahead, but then if you're gonna throw blood into the ocean and get mad at the shark. Now, I'm not saying like all men are sharks, right? But there are some sick people out there that are, if you are enticing them, they're just gonna lose it and then do some crazy shit. And
So, do you think the CIA is behind a lot of this? Like a lot of the grooming, a lot of the things that are going on? Because I'm still convinced, and Charles, I don't know if you're gonna like.
I know where Charles and I sit on this.
So I'm still convinced. I'm 50-50 convinced. So maybe not 100% bought in that the Earth is still flat, and I stand on that. You don't think it's flat?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, because I mean the mathematics suggests that it's not. Especially when you look into latitude longitude calculations. And I believe it was Aristotle. It might not have been. I always mess up with the ancient Greeks. But one of the ancient Greek philosophers or men of science, he did show back then that you can see the curvature of the Earth when you go at least a stadia away. And you can still do that now. You can still go out and prove that now.
So I have sat in what is the furthest that a human eye can see?
It's supposed to be like 2 miles, 10 miles, 2 to 10 miles, somewhere. It's
check.
So when
I think
was
it's 2 miles though.
Yeah, we have Google there. So
But-
I when I was doing satellite communications, they said that the horizon ends at 13 miles.
3 miles.
3 miles.
13. No, in the ocean. Like,
In the ocean. Yeah. Okay.
the ocean, 13 miles. What do you got?
3.
3 miles. The human eye.
Observer at average height. Because imagine too, they're teaching you when you're off the water.
So how can we see the curvature if we can only see 3 miles, but we can still see straight out 13 miles on the ocean?
Repeat the question one more time.
How can we see the curvature of the Earth as Aristotle would have suggested if we can only see 3 miles, but we could also see 13 miles on the ocean?
So in other words,
Well, the ocean is flat. First off, like our perception of the ocean, even in a storm, it's significantly flatter than the variation we see across land.
right? But I guess the idea is that you could see a ship from 13 miles away, and I think the curvature of the Earth is like 8 inches per square mile, something like that per mile. So
I may be an astrophysicist, but I'm no astrophysicist. Yeah.
I asked Gary this earlier too, though. It's like some things that are I mean, science, right? Like my educational background's computer science for software engineering. That's what I went to college for.
Yeah.
It's not flat earthology.
I mean, if you apply the calculations and the formulas to it, you can come up with some things that raise your brow and say like, hey, this doesn't calculate. Like this math ain't mathin'. But the problem with it is that there are other things. Like I was telling you, like how come if I go, so far down in the water, do I need to, decompress before coming up? But coming out of the sky, where you have probably just as much compression, they don't decompress. Like the astronauts that just fell in the water the other day because they came back home after 9 months.
Well, that's actually a great question. So I'm a scuba diver, so I understand the barometric aspect of your question very well. So when you go underwater, the real problem, what would cause decompression sickness, it's nitrogen bubbling. Because you're in a non-compressed environment, when you go down, I believe, 100 meters, it's 2.5 times, and then it exponentially increases because the density of the water overhead as well as the atmosphere. Remember, these astronauts, they're in a fully pressurized environment. It's pressurized to about 1 atmosphere. So they're not experiencing any atmospheric changes. That's why.
So even in a scuba or even in a submarine, they don't have to decompress.
No, because it has a maintained pressure.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
As far as flat Earth, you know how my stance is, and like until I can see the Earth from a bird's eye view and verify for myself, I think both sides of the argument are very compelling.
Well, and to your point, I can jump on my son's trampoline in the backyard and see the Tower of America's downtown from 1604 and 35.
Damn.
Like that's a long way on a clear day.
Well, and
It's
I was
about
also
13.
I was thinking about it too. The reverse question I think is just as interesting as well. I think that you can observe the difference in curvature based on the height because you can't see the same distance when you're standing at 6 feet looking across a flat plane as you could if you were in a 100-foot tower. Why does that difference exist? Because if the Earth is flat, wouldn't we be able to see the same distance either way? With assuming no variation in the terrain.
I think it would be dependent on right where you're at, where your perspective is.
Exactly. Yeah, because if they're teaching you, especially for like satellite comms or communications, it's probably 40 feet off the water. That's where the conning tower is, or the satellite uplink tower would be.
Main deck was probably like 25,
Cutter?
30. Like
Destroyer?
on the main deck on destroyer.
Yeah, makes sense. Versus, because this is 6 feet, so 3 miles.
Yeah. But even then, going up to the quarter deck, you could still see, because I used to go up and down basically. That's not a ocean pun, but yeah, I mean, I definitely could see probably the same distance dependent on where I was at.
Like I said, I'm right
I
down
don't
the
have the
middle.
degree to
I
answer that
don't.
question.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm not the Scientologist. Whatever.
That's the wrong profession.
Whatever. I'm not. Yeah, that's.
They definitely
I am-
believe in space, the
I am
Scientologists. They definitely do.
not that. Like I am definitely not an astrophysicist. Whatever
Just
you
like,
want.
I'm not Muslim, so I wouldn't know. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
I don't know exactly. That's my point. I don't know, but there are things that make you question.
yeah, I question it all the time.
Well, I think you have to be able to question scientific questions like that.
Yeah, well, my thing goes back to like, does the CIA operatives want to like groom us and mentally condition us to really not understand the whole truth that's out there? Kind of like JFK, right? Like, who
I
shot?
think the question is who is behind the CIA.
Who is it? Will we ever know?
Mijmelish Mashmad.
Mishmalish. The reptilians.
Yeah, I don't know. The Khazarian Zionists, potentially the people who parade as Jews who are not actually true Jews. It's a whole thing. There's a whole thing. Yeah, like if we keep going down this road, we're gonna say goodbye to our monetization.
And I think when we think about the CIA and its inception too, we have to think about the psyche bending wars that happened before it, the First World War and the Second World War. It kind of set the stage for that level of societal control, and I think too that the intelligence services in the United States that eventually turned into the CIA, they saw what the Bolsheviks were able to achieve, which is their country was rent apart in World War I. The Tsar fell from power, and the Bolsheviks took over the entire country in the Red and White War. In 1919, they completely solidified control, and then they introduced their various intelligence services.
Just so happened to be after we sold our souls to the Federal Reserve.
Isn't that strange?
Within a couple
the whole
years.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that we had more protections too. With Russia, I think it's just such a good example to look at historically because they didn't have any kind of constitutional framework that we have for liberty and individual rights. There, I mean, it was literally a monarchy run by the Tsar, and then it was turned into something completely different, which was a monarchy ruled by people who elected themselves in charge.
Yep.
Funny.
Yeah.
Very, very oddly similar to.
But the inception of the CIA came from the intelligence services watching how they ran their system. They're like, hey, it works really well for intelligence gathering, managing a population.
And then post World War II, we were like, hey, how about we just go get their scientists and bring them over here?
Right.
100%. Well, and
Operation Paperclip.
we learned that from the Germans and their Stasi as well. And we took a lot of their main Stasi officers and brought them in, you know. That's where the inception of the CIA comes from. It's how would the banksters actually control the society? Well, it would be through influence peddling, CIA operations, and a variety of different ways to manufacture consent and power.
I saw a conspiracy theory. Here we go. I saw a
We opened
conspiracy
Gary's
theory that Hitler went down to Argentina. He didn't actually die. And then his granddaughter gave birth to, or maybe his daughter, met a Nigerian man, and then they gave birth to Obama. Yeah, no, straight up. Like, that is legitimately what the conspiracy theory says.
Did you know, while we're on Hitler, did you know,
Dominic dying in the background is hilarious. But
did you know that
I'm gonna look for it.
The Nazis were one of the first to actually send an exploration down to Antarctica to explore the Arctic wall?
Yes.
That's nuts.
Well, and there's documents, I doubt their historicity or authenticity, but there are documents that show how their submarines would access a secret base in the Antarctic shelf. Now, we'll probably never be able to go and check and see, unfortunately, because the entire continent is completely managed by all the world powers. But I think it begs the question, it's like, what did they know? In the ashes of the war ending, we lost a lot of their knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, they developed the first jet plane, the HE-162.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
What's under the ice?
100%. Then there's the speculation about their German Bell hovercraft as well.
Yeah.
And the ME-262, which was a large flying wing style jet plane. Like, there's so much advancement that happened so quickly. And the United States produced its first jet planes after taking those models.
Yeah.
We weren't even close yet. The development of the turbofan is almost as interesting as all the other stuff we're talking about. Just how technological advances came about. How are they the ones who came up with it first? What was the progeneration of that idea?
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting question.
Well, and that's what I find pretty questioning right now is, like, I'm in computer science. Like, I've worked in software. I've worked in tech, like real estate tech specifically. One of the biggest things that I have is, like, we were advancing so fast over the last 10 years. Then the development and creation of AI came out. And everybody's like, oh my God, we're going to be able to develop so much faster, so much quicker. And the last 4 years that AI has been out, it's been stale. Like, we haven't seen a bunch of new products being released. Like, yeah, there's still your prop techs being built and things like that. And your software is being developed, but there's not a huge advancement like we thought we would see.
You know, there's a principle that I'm going to look up the name of, but we see that with software where there is a level of diminishing returns. Like, when we went from the vacuum tube to the transistor, that was such an incredible leap.
Right.
And we're talking about kilobits of data. Then the first megabit, then the first gigabit, then the first terabit, which is, I mean, realistically probably like 1991, if I remember correctly. But then after a certain point, the efficiency of any system gets to the point where you don't really need to make such huge advances anymore. It already does 99% of what you need it to do. What would we actually do with the extra raw compute power, realistically? And then additionally, on top of that, there's the other question. As we've gone through every major industrial revolution throughout human history and the agricultural revolutions as well, you can support a larger population, but generally there's a weird interstice period where you don't really know what to do with it.
Nude photo.
Oh, there goes our monetization.
Here we go. So it says, following family tree demonstrates how Hitler was secretly a Rothschild descendant and therefore is also part Jewish, meaning that Barack Obama is also a Rothschild descendant, also part Jewish. What's even more interesting is that Obama's real biological father, Mohammed Sabah Samahadiwijijo, a.k.a. Bapak, that was easier, was a founder of an Indonesian Islamic cult known as Subud, which his biological mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, was also a member of. So this is the alleged family tree.
That feels like COINTELPRO to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a counterintelligence project. And that's kind of the question that I was thinking when we were talking about Flat Earth too. I think that's a counterintelligence project.
You think so?
Yes, I think the entire point is to keep people from looking at the things that are actually apparent once you look at them, like the banking control and the old money control of the world,
right?
Through mechanisms like Rothschild central banks, and also just to say it out loud too, Hitler was funded by the Rothschilds. He was. Yeah. I don't know if there's a family connection.
It ties in right here.
But I think that it causes. I think that would be something that's thrown in to distract from everything else.
Don't look at that.
Well, and that would make sense, like how he was able to actually go and explore Antarctica and get the funding is he was funded by the Rothschilds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and he was too. I think a big part of it is, especially the invasion of Poland, the point of that, I think it was to foment another war, because I think the powers that be...
Would y'all think, sorry to interrupt, but would y'all think this would be a deep fake? Is there a way to find out if this is a deep fake?
I mean,
because this would be his dad.
There is a system out there that
is him.
There's a guy, and if you're following us or if if you know who the guy I'm talking about right now, tag him in this video. There's a guy that actually takes photos and
Can tell if they're deep fakes.
can tell if they're deep fakes. It basically gives them like a score of 0.6 all the way up to like 6 or 10. Or
These
something.
are convincing. All right, we got Ann Dunham and Barack Hussein Obama too.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And this is on humorous
mathematics.
That domain.
I mean, you got to name it something weird in order to not get found and blocked.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is back in my reading everything.
The other thing
online
that I
days.
had seen was that like Obama's like the girls, his daughters that are supposed to be his daughters.
Oh yeah, definitely not his.
They're not his,
They look
and that the
nothing
real
like-
parents, like
yeah.
there's a photo of the real parents
They look
standing
exactly
in the
like
background.
those people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the dads.
I've been hip to that since the
I'm
Big
like-
Mike era.
I mean, we're about to get flagged right here, but that's some gnarly information there for you. And Dom's over here like trying to read and.
Because I never heard any of this.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like this is like the pictures. Like it's not just like the words.
Look
but
at
it's
that
like
big old
these,
baby
these
head there, right
pictures
there,
are
though.
like are they deep fakes or not? Like if anybody could like screenshot this and let us know if this is a deep fake, that would be
mucho appreciated.
yeah, it'd be really cool. Oh wait, can't be looking at his mom like that.
So, I mean, while we're on the topic of conspiracy, let's talk a little bit about JFK. Right now that it's been kind of what's the right word I'm thinking of here? Uncensored, declassified. We can now speak openly about the JFK.
I just want to say, if you guys would like more information on this wildness that we're talking about, text link on the bottom, or no, text red pill on the bottom, and I will send you this link. I have spent years compiling this since the beginning of COVID. Would love for you to kind of check this out and call me crazy.
Call him crazy.
That's what you're going to do
It's
anyways.
pretty
if you
gnarly.
don't want to believe it.
Yeah. But while we're on the conspiracy rabbit hole, and we have declassified documents hot off the press about the JFK assassinations. I've only gotten a little bit into them. Like I haven't gone super deep. I'm on page 2. A lot of the first pages were just like testimonials or whatever you call them.
No idea what that.
But I'm on page 2, and something struck me very, very, like to my core,
Right on the
which
tip.
was what I had sent you, and it basically says that. Let me pull it up here. Basically, what happened was, I guess Castro was asked about the assassination of JFK. And according to, they're labeled as L1, in 1969, L1 personally saw Fidel Castro receive a group of U.S. radicals. Castro talked to them for 2 hours about why just one assassin could not possibly have killed Kennedy. Castro ordered a reenactment of the crime using his best marksmen, and they could not replicate what Lee Harvey Oswald supposedly did by himself. L1 said that 3 groups were involved in killing the president, 1 group of Cubans, 1 of mafiosos, and a 3rd of missionaries or mercenaries. The 3rd group included a man with a Greek name. Isn't that just like...
What's the Greek name?
And it didn't say. I haven't gotten that far yet. But to come in further episodes. But the question is, like, you mentioned something at the beginning where you were talking about the angle of the shot.
Yeah. That is actually on my red pill link. There's a whole it's like 2 hours of this guy like analyzing everything about how he was shot, because it looks like he's actually shot twice.
And
He's
Castro's
shot, and then he goes down, and then he goes up when he's shot. So basically, they shot him, and then to make sure that he's dead, they had someone down here, old Pennywise ass, shot him right there, and like that's why he like flops back, and his head just like.
It's crazy that you bring that up though, because I'm over here like talking about Castro questioning whether it was just a single operative like hit, and you kind of validated his statement.
Yeah, they said there's probably like 3. That's what the person in the video is saying.
To me, the video, it looks like the driver turns around, and we might not be able to show it on here, just FYI.
Yeah, probably not.
But the driver turns around and fires. I think the driver's in on it, and there's maybe a shooter from above.
I think it's potential. I think him ripping back, it makes sense just from a fencing response aspect.
Yeah.
I don't even think that part of it's the interesting part of the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Like he died. So however many shooters there were, it was effective. And if there were multiple shooters, we know they were roughly on the same team because they were all doing it at the same time. The coincidence of them doing it within seconds of each other would be impossible, right? So we could agree it's the same people, same time JFK dies. The real question is why and who benefited from the whole thing. And I think that's what these documents show more than anything. And not only that, the lead up to it too. There were people, for example, there was a document in the stack. The gentleman's name is Sergei Sornonob. Sornonob. He was writing to the Russian ambassador in Washington, telling them that he had advanced knowledge that Kennedy was going to be killed the day he was going to be killed. And the day he was going to be killed.
Yeah.
So how did so many people know about it? But we still don't know the truth so many years later.
Yeah, they took no action to provide him more security.
Exactly.
They left him vulnerable.
The federal government knew, and to incredible benefit of Lyndon Baines Johnson, who agreed with a lot of the things that Kennedy did not agree with. Those are the olden days where you'd select somebody who was oppositional to your viewpoints to be your vice president. Silly. Don't know why they did that.
Yeah. Well, and there's speculation too out there that say like his wife put the hit out on him because she caught him having an affair.
Nah.
But that one's highly not likely.
Not likely.
I did read something in the in the files though that mentioned something along the lines of JFK wanting to start a war. Basically, he wanted to incite a war by cutting off the water supply to specific countries. I don't know what countries those were, but there was kind of some mentionings of that in the articles that I was kind of sifting through, which is quite eye-opening.
I've always thought it was because Kennedy didn't want to start wars. I think he was incredibly reticent about the idea of going into Vietnam.
Yeah, he was anti-globalist.
Whereas Baines was not.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Kennedy would have been the perfect president. There's a lot of things that I don't think he would have been very good on. But I know that he was anti-war. And I know that one of the big things was he didn't want nuclear proliferation to continue. There's a certain state in the Middle East that was actually vying for a nuclear program. LBJ was very famously and vocally for it. And Kennedy was not. He said, we're not going to do it. We're not going to allow it. It's going to cause future problems. And then you see the name of the intelligence service and the name of that country all over the documents. I'll leave you, dear viewer, to speculate on that. It immediately begs the question, was a foreign government and their intelligence service involved with the assassination of the United States president?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question.
And it seems pretty clear. And it seems like not only that, they worked with elements of the FBI who had captured and taken over many of these different mafia organizations, which makes total sense. If you're not trying to actually fix a problem, you're trying to prolong one. You take over these mafia organizations, and then you've got hitmen that operate outside of the boundaries of what you're willing to do. So when you kill them, it's not like you killed an agent. You killed some random guy that the mob probably didn't like too much anyway, which is why they were on the assignment.
Yeah.
There's also the patsy question. Was it really Lee Harvey Oswald who fired one of the shots? If there were multiple shots, there's just so much wrapped in the documentation. But the thing that's all over it is there was a foreign power that conspired with our intelligence services to kill the United States president.
Yeah.
In order to achieve foreign policy gains and foreign policy solutions that they had been searching for years and asking the United States Congress every time they came to visit to do for them.
Well, and a lot of that documentation has the USSR written all over it.
Yes, it definitely does.
Which they mentioned like Lee Harvey Oswald being in Mexico City, going to an extradition point so that he can get extradited back to the USSR, get his visa to go back to the USSR, and like his rep or whatever hearing the story. And I think his rep was the one that actually wrote our government to let them know what he was planning, because he was already getting his visas to get out of the country, like in Mexico City. Like he was already planning to escape. But
so on a much more serious note, I have a question for you guys.
Shoot.
What would be your price to be gay for an hour?
0.
Do it for free?
No, there is no price. Let's say that there is no price.
Gary got all excited right there.
Gary's
for a
like,
sec.
"Wow, oh my god!"
Plot twist. I've known you
alright,
for a
stop
couple of
it.
years. This is fun.
You're gonna stop the recording right now. We're done. Gary's like,
What about you? You got a price?
Nah, I don't even talk about that.
How about you, Dom?
Straight as can be.
Anything? No?
Price.
Yeah, you're dumb on the weekday, sub on the weekend, you know what I'm saying? No? Nobody? Nobody's brave enough?
No.
All right, fair enough.
And on that note, should we? You want to wrap it? We got more conversation.
That was a hell of a follow.
Hell of a follow.
Yeah. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I think we touched on all the things.
Charles, anything else you want to lay out on truth disorder?
Read all those documents. Go find somebody who's actually ripping them apart. There is so much interesting information that we didn't actually know before,
Right.
specifically the benefits and the power players that were involved. There's always speculation, but now we know for a fact that the CIA had advanced knowledge of it, that it was going to happen,
Yeah.
knowledge of what was going on the day that it happened, and then also a lot of policy goals they were able to implement after it happened, as well as on behalf of the so far unnamed foreign state. Very interesting stuff, I think.
So, in lesser words, conspiracy theory people, we just scored another point, guys.
All dubs, no L's. It's weird. It's weird how that happens.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
We're like the Yukon women's basketball team from 2013 to 2016.
We're 20 for 20.
Yeah, freaking hell yeah.
Excellent.
Call me Gino Uriema. All right.
We're not the Spurs this year.
No, definitely not. Well, thank you guys for checking in. Can't wait for us to get some amazing content out there. Shout out to Dom, making this shit grade A, top class, first class.
Wicked.
And thank you for coming out, Charles.
It was wonderful.
We'd
Thanks
love
for
to
having
have
me.
we'd love to have you back. I think you've been an amazing value add, and
Perfect. I enjoyed it. You guys are fun.
you
And
got that good energy.
Love to hear it. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Thanks, Charles. Peace.
Dun, 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 dun.